is, I had it all written down, Amy, so I was okay. Amy Cunningham, who is the, would you call it manager?
Yes, I'm the manager.
Of the Somerset Humane Society. I always call it the
Yes.
animal shelter. Is it kind
A
of
lot
like
of people do.
either way? Okay.
It's Somerset Humane or Skowhegan Animal Shelter.
Okay. And we also have Bonnie Brooks. And I had down here public relations manager. Do you wear a lot of hats, Bonnie, or how does that go?
Well, I just deal with a lot of the public's questions and things like this, but I also do other stuff in the shelter, pretty much most of the jobs, so
Okay.
we all kind of do.
Okay, wonderful. We have a couple other guests, as you may have noticed here, and I'm going to let these folks introduce our guests and mention what type of dog this is. Because I can't remember all the parts.
Well, this is Cappy. He is a 7-year-old male dog, and he's a Tan Shepherd Terrier mix. He was recently surrendered to us because his family could not afford to take care of him anymore.
Oh, that's a shame.
But he's a very sweet boy. He gets along with other dogs and gets along with cats and likes everybody he meets so far. And then we have over here in the cage, we have a female cat named Dixie, and she's about 4 years old, and she is a very friendly cat. She's a little nervous today because she had to take a little road trip here. And, but normally she's a very friendly cat, doesn't seem to mind dogs or other cats at all. And she's spayed and up to date on her shots and all ready to be adopted.
Well, these are both beautiful animals, and I'm sure it won't take very long to have them be adopted, really.
How long have you had Cappy?
He's been with us like 3 or 4 days, not
Oh,
very
so
long.
brand new
No.
then.
Yeah.
Well, he's very loving. I can tell anyone out there that would like to have a dog, he's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And I think he'd be a lap dog.
I think
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a lap dog. I
Yeah.
don't think there's any question about
he
that.
rides like this too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much rode
Hi,
in my
buddy.
lap the whole way over here.
Did he? Yeah, he's
Yes.
very, very loving.
Okay,
and
thank you.
Our poor kitty is very quiet here, but
She
she's
is.
kind of nervous, but she's a beautiful cat.
She is. She's very pretty, and her eyes are striking. They're very green. And she came into us quite a while ago, like March 29th.
Okay.
So she's been with us for a little while. But
I can't imagine people not wanting to adopt her.
I know, you know.
Well, maybe after this show, okay?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Now
Yeah.
that she's famous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or maybe her owners will find her. She came in as a stray.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, really?
Oh, well, maybe we
Yeah.
could help out in that way. So these are two beautiful animals, and you have a lot of other beautiful animals in the shelter right now. You want to tell us a little bit about some of the dogs and cats that you have there right now,
And how many?
and how many,
And how many? We're actually kind of low right now.
Well, that's good.
It is a good thing. It's very unusual. We have about 16 cats right now in the shelter.
Okay.
All are not available because some are too young to be adopted at this point. And then we have about 5 dogs,
Okay.
and he's one of them, obviously. And then we have a small puppy that just came in as a stray, which we were really surprised didn't get claimed, but he's he'll be up for adoption after he gets neutered. He's a handful.
Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of a puppy?
I think he might be boxer, but he's got some really big paws. He might be a Mastiff mix.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
not really sure.
He's very big and he's very young still, so it's hard to tell when they come in like that with no information what they actually are. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
he's, we think, about 2 or 3 months old.
Okay.
Not totally sure on that either.
How many people work at the shelter?
Right now we have 9 employees. Most of them are part-time,
Mm-hmm.
and we have several very reliable volunteers.
And what types of things do the volunteers do?
They come in and they help with cleaning.
Mhm.
If they have something that they're good at, like they prefer to work with dogs or they prefer to work with cats, then they help out in those areas. One of our volunteers does a lot of work like sorting out donations that are brought in
Mhm.
and storing them away in the garage. She keeps it really organized. It's such a help to us. and other volunteers.
They actually do a lot of the same stuff that we do.
Yeah.
We train them the same way we would train an employee, just so they know safe handling of the animals and things like that. So it's really, they do the same thing that we do. They work right alongside us.
I'm just gonna remind both of you to speak up
Okay.
so people can hear what you're saying. I have 2 cats that I absolutely love that I got at the shelter.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they're probably about 8 now, I think. And it was really interesting. My mother and I went to get them or to look for some. And they had been in the same cage together because they were very crowded at that time. And when my mother walked by, the one we called Pumpkin reached out his paw and grabbed her hand.
Oh.
So that did it, and they've both been wonderful cats. We've never regretted a minute of it. They get along well, and so the shelter's a great place to get an animal if you need one.
We just recently, well, I say recently, 2 years ago now, adopted a couple of coon cats, brother and sister, from the shelter, and they've been an absolute joy. They have such nice personalities. I've always heard that about coon cats anyways, but want loads of attention, eat loads of food. They don't go outside. They had their front claws
Yeah.
removed.
Mine too.
So our biggest issue is trying to exercise them enough. Our bigger male coon cat, he eats a lot. And he is almost 16 pounds, which is a
Wow.
little bit on the heavy side. So
Yeah.
we have been debating what we're going to do food-wise to try to, and exercise-wise to try to get his weight down. The female is much better and doesn't overeat quite as much as the male, but he eats like a dog, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, but they're absolutely loving animals, and we've gotten all our animals in recent years from the shelter and been very satisfied with that. So that's been great. That's been great. It must be pretty traumatizing to most of these animals when they're first brought into the shelter. Do you have some that have a very hard time making the adjustment?
I absolutely do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, had Cappy been with the same family for all 7 years?
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
the family that surrendered him, I think they only had him, they said about a year.
Yeah.
So he's been
He's
bounced around a bit.
Yeah, he's probably a little more adjusted than some of the animals we have come in.
we've had some dogs that have come in that have been around his age that have only been with the same family.
And that's got to be
And
so
there's-
traumatic.
Yeah, there's a distinct difference between an animal that's been in the same home for most of their life to
Mhm.
an animal that is either a stray and used to fending for itself, or an animal that has gone through several homes, for sure.
I mean, he looks like he could settle in anywhere.
Yeah, and he probably will.
Yeah.
Now, when somebody drops an animal off, what's the cost of doing that?
We have a $50 surrender fee for dogs. It's a $25 surrender fee for cats. Considering the situation of whoever it is that's bringing in the animal for surrender, we will work with them on the fees and things like that. But that's our standard fee.
Now, if someone picks up a stray,
Mm-hmm.
do they still have to pay for bringing them in?
No. We recommend that if you have a stray animal, or an animal that you believe is stray, that you would call your animal control officer for your
And will
town.
they come pick
And
them
they
up?
are supposed to come and pick up the animal and bring it to us, and that's the way it's supposed to be done. But we've accepted plenty of stray animals from people who see the dog running in the road and bring it to us. Well,
Yeah.
we're not going to refuse it. So
You must have situations where people avoid the fees by just kind of dropping the animals off rather informally.
yeah.
I think I've read a few stories about
Yeah.
that.
It
Yeah.
happens.
It does happen. It's kind of unavoidable.
Yeah.
What do you have available? I know you said you have about 6 dogs right now.
Yeah, about 5. Yep. They're not, are they all available yet? I think they
The little
are.
Chihuahua is.
Yes.
Caesar is not neutered, so he's not available yet.
Yeah. I mean, we have a variety of ages and sizes actually right now, which we don't often get small dogs, but we got one in yesterday. It was a little Chihuahua. She's very nervous. She's gonna need a special home with somebody who understands, you know, that she's gonna need some time
Mhm.
to adjust. And that's really what we look for with people, trying to match up what people want with the animal's personality that we get to know in the shelter, to try to give them the best home so
Mhm.
that they don't get returned.
That's a nice.
Now, if
idea.
I came to get Cappy, what would it cost me?
Well, his fee is reduced because of his age, so he would be $100. Our normal dog fee is $175.
Okay.
And that includes spaying and neutering of the animal, and their distemper shots, their rabies shots, deworming,
Mhm.
flea treatments, 30 days of free pet insurance, and I'm missing something. Pet insurance, the shots.
Explain pet insurance.
There's a pet
Please.
insurance company that, you mean explain what pet insurance
Well, you
is?
said that too, but yeah, you said 30 days of free pet insurance.
Yeah, there's
so-
a pet insurance company that is, will work with shelters, that they'll give you 30 days if you adopt an animal, so say you adopt Cappy, you can go home and you call them up and tell them that you adopted him, they'll give you the first 30 days for free. And then at that point, you can decide whether you want to pay a monthly fee at that point. I'm not sure of all the details
So-
of that actual particular insurance.
So this is like a health insurance? for
Yeah.
pets? Okay.
It's a really great idea. Because
Any idea of the approximate cost?
It varies for
For the
different
animal,
insurance and the animal. I believe they have to give you like an estimate when they get like the information on the animal, the age and the health and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I had pet insurance on one of my cats some time ago because he was young and he had had a condition that was life-threatening, and I had to rush him to an emergency vet, and I paid a lot of money for the surgery to basically keep him alive.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had had pet insurance on him, it would
Mhm.
have been completely covered. And I feel like, you know, I understand sometimes it seems like a cost that
Right.
is excessive, you know, who wants to put insurance on their pets, but a lot of times that those can be pricey, they can be expensive.
Yeah. And this is a great marketing tool for the pet insurance people.
It is,
Come here,
but,
Cappy. Come here.
so that's I
Give me
think
a
why
happy.
they help out shelters.
That's a
Come here a
happy.
minute.
That's a
Come
happy
here a
dog.
minute.
Yeah.
I know.
This dog's gonna get adopted
if
soon.
I-
can see.
I didn't have cats that hate animals, I would, I'd take you home in a minute.
Yeah.
But I'm too old to walk you, and
Yeah.
especially on the busy highway that I live on.
That's right.
Oh, he is just absolutely darling. I just love you. Yes, I do.
Do you ever have any issues with overcrowding in there? And you know, right now you don't seem to be too bad, but
We used to quite a bit. Right now, it's not so bad. Probably for the last year or so, we found other shelters that are working with us and transferring
Oh, okay.
animals
Oh, great.
with us.
great.
So if we do start to get really full, or we start to worry about where we're gonna put them, we will transfer them to another shelter has room.
Oh, wonderful. Because I hate hearing those stories of euthanizing animals because of
Yeah.
the.
I know they were
overcrowded
really
conditions.
full when I went out to get my two. They were just really
Which we have-
overcrowded.
We're really trying to overcome that. We have not euthanized in over a year for space.
Wonderful.
So, yeah. Other shelters are really, really helpful with that, especially Animal Refuge League in Greater Portland
Mm-hmm.
and Animal Welfare Society in Kennebunkport. They love to take our animals.
Yeah.
And some of them have foster folks that will take them, right, in the
yeah.
interim?
He
Now,
can't- he
I'm
can't-
sorry, go
he
ahead.
He can't stay quiet for too long,
No,
can he?
he's-
If I take an animal and it doesn't work out, is there a length of time in which we can return it?
You can return it at any point. If you return, our policy is that if you return within 10 days of adopting, there won't be a surrender fee. You won't have to pay the
Mhm.
surrender fee. we like to take our animals back. If you adopted them from us and you need to rehome them,
Yeah.
we would like to have them back so that we can rehome them.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work that way, but
At one time, I thought with cats, there was a requirement that you had to, I don't know, you had to pledge, but to keep them inside, not allow them to go outside. Seems as though I remember that at one time. That's not the case
no,
now?
no. We recommend that you keep them inside for up to a month or so at
Oh,
least,
okay.
so that just so they know where they live
I don't know.
before you start letting them out.
Seems
But
though
we
I
don't-
remember that from a number of years ago at the
Yeah, that could be.
at the shelter. So that is not the case now.
No,
Anyway.
it's
Well, our cats, both of have their front claws removed, so
Yeah,
it'd be very
mine do too,
dangerous
yeah.
to let.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
you're right on a
definitely
major
wouldn't
route
recommend that.
down.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Well, I can't tell you how many cats over the years that we've gone through, but these have not gone out at all.
Yeah.
So, and I would not have any ever on 201 that
Yeah.
I would let out. I thought of a question now, I've forgotten that. Go ahead, anything?
Well, I've gotten used to having cats inside because all my previous cats were outside. We certainly try to get them in before nightfall, and we did lose one years ago to, I believe it was coyotes, because there are coyotes out
Yeah.
at night. But boy, that's awfully disheartening when you lose
Yeah.
an animal like that. But we've had to get used to keeping them inside. And the last cat I had lived a good long life, but she was outside running all the time and never was the least bit overweight. And now I've got this big
Mhm.
male cat that eats like a dog and got weight problems. So we're
Yeah,
trying
my
to figure
pumpkin
that
is
out.
big too.
Yeah.
well, that's preference. All my cats are indoor cats. All Bonnie's cats are outdoor cats.
Yeah.
And it does depend on where you live. I know I had brother and sister Siamese cats, and the male died at about 17. And they were both outdoor cats where we lived in Farmington. And I took Tabitha to camp, and she wanted to go out, wanted to go out, and I really didn't want her to. Finally, I said, go ahead, because you're driving me crazy.
Yes, exactly.
And she was out maybe 15 minutes when I went to look for her, and I never saw her again.
Oh.
And I was so devastated. I often think how horrible to lose a child or lose,
Mm.
because I was crazy over losing that
Oh,
cat.
yeah. Yeah.
And it's, now, not all animals are spayed before you get them or neutered.
No.
I mean, because ours were kittens, and
Mhm.
I know, I can't remember, we had to sign something that we would have it done, and then we would get money back. Obviously, I had it done and never went back to collect
Right.
money from the
Right.
shelter, but,
Hmm.
so I would hope that and I would think that most people that adopt them probably do take good care of them.
And they're all spayed and neutered now before they're adopted. We
Even
don't adopt out.
even the cats.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
All the
okay.
animals are.
I don't
spayed
know
and
how
neutered.
old mine were, must have been fairly young, because I had to wait
Yeah,
a
and
bit
we have.
before I could take them to get,
Yeah, we have a new program for that. It's the
Noted.
Foster to Adopt program.
Okay.
It's for younger cats, younger kittens. If you want to tell them
Yeah.
about that. Come on, bud.
and we do have a new company in town that is where Durago Stitching was. And I haven't bought them yet, but I'm going to buy some that have a vest that you can put on your dogs.
Mhm.
And probably cats too, I would guess, if
Yeah.
your cats go out. And I'm not necessarily plugging Walmart, but apparently they have a contract with Walmart, and that's where you would get them.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that's good for people to know. I have no idea the cost. I do need to check it out and find out. But
And the vest is specifically for tick.
it's
protection.
specifically for tick protection, yeah.
Mm.
That's really interesting.
I've not,
Never heard of that.
Yeah.
they did a very short segment on the news one night, but I've not seen them, and I don't know the cost, and I don't know, I would assume they must be washable. So I don't know.
Let's, if you wouldn't mind, let's talk a little bit about fundraising, and we have some fundraising items here this morning. Obviously, you need money in order to operate, and you have this shoe thing going on, and you want to explain that?
Yeah, we have basically a used shoe drive going right now, and our deadline is May 16th, and we have to collect 2,500 pairs of shoes.
I have a lot.
Oh, good.
Actually, I've got a few too.
That would be wonderful, because we're just a little over halfway our goal, to our goal right now, and we have, I think, 19 days left.
Well, what are you doing with the shoes?
We're working with a company that's called Funds to Orgs, and they will pay us 40 cents a pound for the shoes that we collect. They want us to collect the 2,500 pair. It's very important.
But what are they doing with them?
And then they take the shoes from us and they send them overseas to impoverished countries, and they help those families start small micro businesses that will help them support themselves.
So you want shoes that are in fairly good condition?
Well, yeah, they need to be able to be worn still, so nothing with broken soles or detached soles.
Okay.
But they don't have to be new shoes.
Okay.
You know, they can be gently used.
Well, I'll make my son go through some shoes. He's got more shoes than...
That would be wonderful. We've been trying
to
get the
think
word
what
out.
I've got that's gently used.
I've given most of mine away, but I will certainly look.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure I could come up with 15 pair fairly easy.
That would be great. That would be great.
So, how much money might you derive from all of this?
Well, if we get the 2,500 pair, they'll give us roughly around $1,000.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
If we get less than 2,500 pair, we have to pay the shipping fees, which are a couple $100. I think it's around $400 or so.
Okay.
Which will reduce the amount that will come out of the pound price that they pay us for what we do collect, which is why we're kind of pushing for the 2,500 pair. But it's been great. People around the community have really been helping, especially over the last couple of weeks.
How many are you lacking now? Do you have any idea where you're at?
We have to have 100 bags with 25 pairs in them each, and we have 57 bags right now. So
you're a little over halfway.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
it's a little.
And May 16th is the
May
is the
16th
final.
is the deadline, yeah.
And then they all have to get in and get shipped out to.
Yes, they'll be sending a truck to us
Okay.
to have them all loaded up.
Okay.
So, folks, you need to participate in this.
And honestly, if anybody has a hard time getting over to the shelter to drop off shoes, they can give us a call and we will come pick them up.
And the shelter is in a pretty convenient location. You want to mention your location? Yeah.
We're about a mile up past the hospital on the Middle Road in Skowhegan. It's actually 123 Middle Road, Skowhegan.
Mhm.
If you just keep on going past the hospital, you'll run into us eventually.
There's good signage out there,
Yeah.
so they'll find you.
So people that are listening, get on the phone, call your friends, remind them of the shoe drive, and that would be a good way of getting the word out.
Absolutely. Now, that's not your only way of fundraising, right? I mean, what are some of your other funding sources? What else do you do?
Anything that we can think of for a fundraiser. we just had a paint party. Those seem to be
that's
really
becoming very
common.
popular,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. So we had one of those. That raised almost $1,200.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
we sold tickets at $35 a piece, and
Where was the
Yeah.
paint party?
we had it at the Tewksbury building, out behind the
Oh,
Federated
Church, yes,
Yep.
of course.
Yep.
And I know that you like people to take out food and towels, and you do
Absolutely.
old sheets. Do
Yep.
you- Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. we
What other
use
kinds of
couch
items?
cushions.
What, couch cushions?
Yep. Yep. We
Okay.
put them in for the dogs.
Yeah.
Get them
Yeah.
off the floor. They do have Coranda beds, but some prefer couch cushions.
Yeah. Towels, washcloths, pillowcases,
Yeah.
blankets. In the wintertime, we get kind of low on blankets for the dogs because it's a little chilly in our dog room at times. So
And whether they have stains, rips, it doesn't matter. We
No.
can at least use them one more time.
Right, yeah,
and then
because
we'll
they're,
throw 'em.
yeah.
Now, what are some of your other funding sources? I'm sure that it's a fairly expensive deal to keep that office open or
Mhm.
animal shelter open. Do you have any, like any trusts or anything, money that you can work often to help you out, or?
We have one that was set up. I'm really not sure about this part of it. That we get money from the Eleanor Richards Fund, which is
Okay.
that helps with our spaying and neutering.
Yeah.
But mostly we run off of donations
Yeah.
and town contracts. Those are our biggest. That's our biggest.
Seems, if I recall, there was another trust at one time. I don't know whether that's still there or not. I think it was a Philbrick trust from the Philbrick
Probably.
family that I think there was interest off that trust that also
Yes.
helped support you folks as well.
Yes. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about it to be able to answer the questions about
Yeah.
it. But
Then there's not a DB trust either, as far as you know.
that I'm not sure of.
Yeah. But I was thinking there was at least a trust or two that was there to help support the
That
cause.
we're getting the interest from. Yes,
That's
there are a
right.
couple.
Now, I've also noticed, not that I read this all the time, but in obituaries,
Yes.
actually I do read it all the time. That's probably as you get
Yeah.
older, you always read it. So, but there's, in so many obituaries, they
Mhm.
name the animal shelter or the Humane Society as one of their donation requests.
Yes.
And so I'm thinking you probably get a fair amount of money, don't you? From
Yes.
stuff like
yeah,
that.
a lot of the donations.
I've written out a
come in
few
that
checks,
way.
I think. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I have too,
Yeah.
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 So, and when that happens, we check the paper every day for obituaries. If anyone has named us for the ones to receive any donations, we keep it in a book. When we start getting donations for that person, we have them all written down, and then when we close it out, usually about 30 days later, we send a card to the family if they're listed, which a lot of times they're not. But we try to send that so that they know everyone that donated.
Mhm.
And we
Okay.
also send thank you cards to everyone that did
Good,
donate.
yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's really nice that people think of you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, we're very thankful for those people who do that
Yes.
for us.
Very much so. What financially are you folks doing okay? I mean, obviously you keep needing to raise money all the time.
Right.
What does it take to run that animal shelter during the course of the year? You have any idea?
Your annual budget?
Yeah.
We spent, our operating expenses last year were $153,000.
Okay. So it's not cheap to run.
No, it's
No.
not.
No.
Probably just buying food. Is that your biggest expense?
No,
or
I would
no?
say medical expense,
Medical?
and spay neuter. Spay neuter is big. We spent
Yeah.
about $25,000 on spaying and neutering last year.
But you try to recoup most of that fee when you give the animal.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
But it is expensive, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's.
Do any of the local vets or any vets give their services free?
Once a year in February, we call around. It's spay neuter month. We call around, and a lot of the vets will offer a free spay or neuter. Sometimes they offer both. But other than that, it's not. We have one vet right in town that gives us a free spay or neuter, cat or dog. It's our choice once a month.
So they don't do it routinely then for the animals that you have?
No, no.
I feel like I've got Cappy here.
Fortunately, we're not allergic.
Yeah,
here.
really, thank heaven, yeah.
At least I don't think I'm allergic.
No, no, and then
You
thank
should know
heavens
shortly.
Dalla isn't
Yeah,
here
well, I should
because
know. I'm gasping
she'd
for
be
air.
very sick by now.
Yeah.
The rabies clinic, we have a vet coming to do that. We don't actually give rabies shots ourselves. But we do have, that rabies clinic is gonna be May 7th from 2 to 3 right at the shelter.
So
Um,
anyone that has an animal can bring it in?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yep,
Yeah.
What's the fee?
$15 each.
Okay.
Yep. 1-year shots and 3-year shots are available. If you want a 3-year booster, you need to bring your records so that they can see them.
What was the date again on that?
May 7th.
Oh, so that's
Saturday.
coming right up.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Yes.
And $15 seems quite reasonable.
Yep, it's from 2 to 3 in the afternoon. so
You
it's
may-
just 1 hour.
You may be
I
pretty,
would say
you may
that
be
wouldn't
pretty
accommodate a
crowded.
lot, yeah.
Yeah.
It does get very crowded. Rabies clinics go over very well. A lot of people take advantage of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's really good.
Now, do you have to have a rabies shot to license your dog?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, that's a very good idea.
Yes, that, definitely.
Excellent idea.
Rabies vaccinations are actually required by law.
For,
So
Okay.
for cats and dogs.
whether
Yeah.
they're indoor, outdoor, they're required.
Okay. Hey, I noticed you sell T-shirts too.
Yes, we do.
Is that a major? You bring any today?
We
did
didn't.
not.
Thought about it.
I'm
Well, you have one on,
I'm
right?
wearing one.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
What do you sell those for?
$15 each.
That seems pretty reasonable.
We have a big array of sizes from small to 3X, and all different colors.
Yeah.
And they're also available at Aubuchon Hardware
Yeah.
in Skowhegan too. They're selling them
Okay.
for us.
Yeah. Now you must occasionally get some more exotic pets in, don't you? They're not all the average run-of-the-mill cats and dogs,
They're
are they?
pretty much the average run of the mill.
Average run-of-the-mill?
Yeah.
Well, if somebody had a $1,000 dog, they're probably not going to give it up very easily. I would
Right.
think. Yeah.
Now, what if you see on the news they're finding snakes, etc.?
Oh.
Do they ever try to bring those to you, or is there a place where someone would go if they found one?
We have not gotten any. If
Good.
they are strays, we will take them. Anything that is lost or homeless, we will take it. However, we need to do it.
So-
Yeah.
Basically.
So because I always think of the animal shelter as a place for cats and dogs.
Yeah.
But it's more than that.
We've gotten in hamsters, rabbits, guinea pigs, rats,
Birds.
birds. Yeah. So
They usually go pretty quick though.
yeah, because we don't usually have them, so they don't
Yeah.
stick around long. People adopt them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, where do you put them? I mean, they're not in the standard.
No,
Pens
we
that the
have
other
we
animals
have
are.
different cages
Yeah.
for animals that come in like that. Because
Yep.
we don't get a lot of them, so when they do come in, we
Yeah.
usually have that cage empty.
You don't put the birds right next to the cats, then, right?
No.
No. Some of them would like us to.
Yeah, I'm sure. This cat is
The
like
eyes are still open, though.
Yeah.
I just looked to see if,
She's listening.
she's
Hasn't
listening,
relaxed
but
totally,
she's
yeah.
very, very well. I think she's very afraid, but she seems
She's relaxing
pretty
a little
relaxed.
bit.
yeah.
and she has
She's
not
pretty
been
good.
crying.
I had
Oh,
a cat that looked almost like her, Cleopatra.
now she's a short hair, right? of
Yep,
some
a
kind.
domestic short hair.
Yeah.
She's got tiger markings, but she kind of has torty cat colors.
Yeah.
So she's very pretty.
And you said she was a stray,
Yes,
so you
she
don't know
was.
anything about her
We don't,
background.
except for what we've experienced with her. But
I guess how do you know she's like 4 years old? I mean,
use the
why-
teeth to
Okay.
guess.
Okay.
Okay.
Or when we take him up to the vet, he'll kind of give us his best guess too.
Okay. So you when you say 4 years, you sometimes put a little question mark or
Roughly.
something.
I
on there,
usually
roughly.
Yeah,
say
it's
all
around
approximate.
4 years
Around
old.
4 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a guess sometimes.
Yeah.
I know one of my cats must have been abused. They can't see any physical deformities, but any little noise, even now, he still is very jumpy. He's very loving and comes around people, but if he hears a noise or he's still very skittish when it comes to that. And I keep thinking, honey, you haven't been hurt all the time you've been here, but he must have had not a good history.
Yeah.
Now our two cats are actually just the opposite. They are both very comfortable in their surroundings.
Yeah, and so's Pumpkin.
And they will settle in the middle of the floor, just sprawl out in the middle of the floor. And unfortunately, they're almost too comfortable. Like, I'll give you an example. This morning, my wife was cooking breakfast, and our female cat went right up next to her on the floor. And she turns around and just about trips over
Yeah.
and just almost
Yeah.
walks on her tail.
Yeah.
And I try to warn my wife beforehand that our cat Bella is right behind her, but they do that. They'll be right
Yeah.
next to you on the, so you always have to keep looking
Yeah.
to make sure that you're not going to walk on them. That they're that comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And most of my other cats were skittish enough that they would, keep a clear path and stay away. But these two were just like, no big deal. Yeah, so it's kind of, each cat is different. But I think coon cats are kind of that way. They seem to be very personable and very comfortable cats.
Yeah.
At least that's certainly been my experience with them thus far.
Yeah, it's
So.
been my experience with most of them too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're very people have described them as very dog-like cats.
They
Mhm.
yes they are, particularly our male cat who eats like a dog too. But but they've made great pets. The only negative to coon cats is they shed a lot,
Yes.
and I'm having to vacuum all the time with those cats. But they're a lot of fun at
Yeah.
the same time. Yeah,
The joys of being a cat owner.
yeah. Now you're fundraising, right, to build a new not a isolate. What do you call it? Isolation area.
Quarantine area.
Quarantine area. Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's very important to us because I'm sure some people know that we were closed for ringworm last
Mhm, I knew you were closed for a while.
spring, was it?
Yeah, it was. I think
Yeah, it was about a year ago.
February to April.
Yeah.
That's quite a while. Yeah.
It was a long time. It was a big process.
It was very long process. We thoroughly had to clean the shelter. And part of the reason why it took us so long to reopen was because we had no separate quarantine area to place the cats
Hmm.
that we had currently in the shelter that had contracted ringworm in, to keep them separate from the shelter.
Yeah.
And so
Oh, there you go.
if we had a separate quarantine area that was separate from the building, if we ever have an outbreak like that again, it won't shut us down like this
That would be nice.
experience did.
Now, would you routinely put any new animal that came
Yes.
in there in the quarantine before you?
Yes, that would
make
basically, it would
sense.
make it so that we
Yeah.
could do that with any incoming animal to just keep the other animals in the shelter
So
isolated
where did
from
the
them.
animals go then during this period of time with the ringworm?
Where did they go?
Yeah.
They actually,
Yeah.
We had a makeshift building.
yeah, we got some advice from some other shelters in Maine.
Yeah.
And we had to create like a plastic tent for them out in one of our outbuildings out back.
Oh, okay.
And so we kept them out there with a space heater, and they had to be, tended to every day and treated for ringworm.
Must have been
Yeah.
real difficult.
It was, yes.
It was an experience.
It was. It was
Oh,
a really
yeah.
good experience for us all, because none of us had experienced ringworm before, and now we are very, very vigilant.
We know what we're looking for.
Yes, we do.
Hmm. Now, paid staff-wise, you're both paid staff, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Full-time.
Full-time?
Yes.
Okay. And everybody else would be a volunteer?
No, everybody else is part-time.
Okay.
There are some volunteers, but we mostly have part-time employees.
Do you have many people stepping forward to be volunteers?
Not enough.
Okay. All right, we'll mention that. We need more volunteers to help out at the animal shelter, folks, so
Volunteers for fundraising would be great.
Yeah.
that too.
That's something we're really lacking.
Okay.
Or anybody who knows how to write grants or do research on finding grants that would help us, we would really welcome some help from that, with that
Okay.
process.
All right, absolutely. Are you folks you're nonprofit, right?
Mhm.
So are you a 501c3?
Yes.
Okay. So any donations that are made to you are tax deductible.
Yes.
Yes.
Remember that, folks. Okay. So that must help a great deal in terms of getting donations.
Yeah.
Does.
Yeah. I'm assuming you have a board of directors, right?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
There's 4 board members.
Okay.
Who are your board members?
Kara Mason, Debbie Turcott, Ken Socher, and Vicky Tuttle.
Okay. And do they meet on a regular basis?
Yes.
And-
Yeah, they meet once a month.
Okay. And well, That's nice. I recognize some of those names.
Mhm.
And I think some of them have been involved with the animal shelter for quite a while.
Yes, they have.
Yeah,
Yeah, Kara and Vicky are our newest board members.
yeah,
Ken and Debbie have both been board members for years.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, does the town, what's your relationship, say, with the town of Skowhegan? Do they make, does the town partially fund this as well?
Do you go to them for money?
Yeah.
For funding?
No,
No?
no, it's just, we contract with the towns, and they send us, we bill them, and they send
So you
in
contract with them for what specifically?
for the animals, for stray animals.
And do they pay you so much depending on how many animals you have in a year?
They
or-
pay us, it's $150 per capita, is
Okay.
how it's
Okay.
billed.
Oh, I see. And their animal control officer, when they find animals, they know to bring them up to you?
Right, yep.
Okay. And how's it, you actually are the Somerset Humane Society, right? So you're taking animals from
We
other
contract,
communities?
we contract with 24 towns.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Not all necessarily Somerset County.
Okay.
We have them, if you'd like to know each town that we contract with.
Give
We
us some
build
of
a
the,
list.
give us some of the big ones.
Yeah,
Our biggest towns are Skowhegan, Madison, and Newport.
Oh, okay.
so you do Newport.
Yep.
Yes.
Do you do Pittsfield?
No, they go to the Waterville shelter, Pittsfield, Palmyra.
Okay, because is Pittsfield?
Somerset.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
thought,
Somerset.
yeah.
Yep.
Each town has a choice to contract with whatever
Okay.
shelter they want to.
Okay. So they would, all these other towns would pay you on a per capita too
Yeah.
for this?
Yes. Yep.
So you must get a fair amount of revenue for each animal
Yeah.
you take in from,
Yeah, the town contracts are, that's a big
now
part
is
of
that
it.
for strays only? If I live in Skowhegan and I have an animal I can't handle, do
Then
you bill
then
the
you would be
town
able
for
to
that, or I
surrender.
would pay the $50 when I?
Right, you would pay the surrender
Okay.
fee.
Okay.
People
Mm.
come in to see the animals, we actually take them through the building, and it's just conversation. We
Good.
talk about animals that they've had in the past, animals they have now, their living situation. If someone wants to get an animal from us and they rent, we have to have their landlord's permission. So,
Oh,
Now, do you
yeah.
ever see where they live? Do you ever go?
we don't do that.
You
no.
don't do that.
My little kid, oh, bless you.
Are you getting a fly or what?
Our kitty's talking over here. So what are some of the ways you notify the general public of the animals that you have at the shelter? Obviously, you want to make sure that people are well aware of the types of animals that you have up for adoption. So I have noticed, I looked on your website and I saw some pretty looking animals on there as well. So that's obviously one. And what are some of the other ways you make sure people are aware of these animals?
We have a Facebook page that actually does a lot for us.
Okay.
And then we have the website, as you mentioned. We do adoption events where we go, different businesses will invite us to come, and we set up there for a little while with some of the adoptable animals that we have.
Yeah.
And
We also have Pet Finder.
Why don't you put this in the newspaper?
I
Probably
think you.
costs money.
Well,
It
I've
does.
seen. Haven't I seen stuff in the newspaper
Yes.
before?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
we have a pet of the week, usually every week. It's a different animal. It has a reduced price. And that is put into the Morning Sentinel weekly. That's sponsored by Bob's Cash Fuel.
Oh,
Okay.
And then on 107.9 on the radio, they advertise our pet of the week, and that's sponsored by Height
Height Ford.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
So that's a couple other ways, but that's really just the pet of the week that's
Yeah.
put in there. But yeah, newspapers ads cost some money.
Oh,
Cost
lots
some
of
money.
attention.
It does.
Yeah.
We do also use Twitter,
Yeah.
and we're just getting started with YouTube,
Yeah.
posting videos of the
Oh,
animals.
yeah.
Oh, actually, I would think that'd be very effective.
Yeah, we try to use social media as much as possible because it's free.
Yeah, and Facebook, like Everybody seems to be on Facebook now.
Yeah,
so-
we have just over 9,000 followers on Facebook.
Yeah.
My
Oh, you
God.
do?
Yeah,
Oh,
Look at
so
him.
this
yeah,
is-
it's,
Even though he
Yeah, he
has
wants-
been astray,
he would
he
like to be a
certainly was
lapdog.
loved, I think.
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, I don't think he's been mistreated.
No, I don't
Yeah.
either.
No.
No.
You are a very friendly, loving little boy, and you want plenty of it, don't you? Huh? You want plenty of it. Yeah.
So do you have many people that come in and say, boy, I saw that pet on Facebook, I'd love to adopt"?
Yes. Yes, quite
In
a
other
few
words-
actually.
All the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, you
Yeah.
do, so that's a very effective media. way
It
of
really
getting it
is.
out.
I mean,
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's why your numbers are down.
Oh, maybe.
Could be,
It could be.
could be.
Could
Is
be.
there a particular time of the year, like in springtime, that more people go out and look for new animals, or is it pretty steady on a year-round basis?
It's steady. We kind of joke and say that people want to adopt dogs in the summer,
Yeah.
and people want to adopt cats in the winter. It does seem to go like that. I'm not really sure why. But our
They can-
higher dog adoption rates are in the summer.
Play with
Okay.
the dog out until they don't want to take him out in the
Well,
winter.
Oh,
That's
that's,
kind of
yeah.
what we always thought.
Yeah.
You know, you want a nice cuddly cat in the winter when
Yeah.
it's cold.
Yeah.
But yeah, and a lot of people like to get cats for Christmas and stuff.
You are a piece
Oh,
of
true.
work.
Yeah.
You know that? You are an interesting baby. Yes, you are.
Certainly making himself noticed.
Attention all the time.
And he loves
Boy.
kids.
He came from a home with kids, I believe. I think that he would tolerate them,
Mm.
you know, as long as they knew how to treat a dog, which I
Yeah.
would say that about any dog.
Mhm.
So.
Yeah.
But I mean, it looks, sometimes you can sense a dog doesn't want you near their face. or-
Yes,
and
he doesn't
certainly
seem to have any
doesn't
boundaries.
seem to have that, no.
Yeah. Do you have any other upcoming events or anything you want to talk about for the coming year?
The shoe drive is our main concern
Main
right
thing,
now.
yeah.
I'm not sure. Do we have anything
the
else?
shoe drive and the rabies clinic are, it kind of goes day by day.
Okay.
If we get an email of something that looks interesting, that's where it starts, which is how the shoe drive started.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you're always up for ideas for new
We
fundraising
are.
projects, right?
Yes.
Okay. So hopefully people watching will call in and
Yes,
and
hopefully.
let you know some good fundraising ideas, huh?
Yes,
Yeah,
that would
and
be
hopefully
great.
they'll come and help us run them.
Yeah. And yes, and volunteer their time.
Yes, and donate your shoes.
Absolutely. And if they want to come right to the shelter, you're located conveniently on the middle road in Skowhegan, and you got a sign right out front, right near the road, so no problem
Yeah.
finding you.
And your
What-
sign says what?
Somerset Humane Society.
Okay.
And the building used to say Peter Debe, does it still?
No, it does not.
It did at one
Yes.
time.
I think
didn't
I think
Yeah.
it did. It did.
Yeah.
So actually, it was Peter Debe family, one of the original donors. Okay.
Must have been,
Must
probably,
have
the
been, yeah.
building.
Yeah.
He was an interesting little man. I have many memories of, it's where the Thai restaurant is now. Before
Right.
up by a grill, it was a little, I don't know if
Beer
you'd even
tent.
really call it a grocery store. but-
Candy store.
Candy store, yeah, more than. And back in the days when you needed a payphone, he had a couple of payphones in the back
Yes,
of the
he
store,
did.
because all the kids after the movies would go there and call their parents and say, okay, it's time to come get us. And I remember my grandfather, well, that was a long time ago, said that the only two words that he could say when he came here was 2 for a nickel. That supposedly were the only English that he could speak, and he did very well. He ended up owning a lot of property.
Yes, yes,
The
that's right.
Belmont Motel,
Yeah.
his daughter now owns, and most of his children. I think she may be the only one left, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But he was very well known by
absolutely.
the time he passed away.
He
Absolutely.
came here with 50 cents in his pocket from Italy
Yeah, I knew he didn't have much.
and could not speak English,
Yeah.
except what you just said, Donna.
And I don't know if that's true, that's
It's-
folklore, but
it is
that's what I
true.
always heard.
Yeah. Well, that's an
He
interesting
made
story.
50 cents grow.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
sure did.
But his name was on the building at one.
It was.
I thought, yeah.
I know it was.
Yeah, it probably was. There's been many little additions been put on
Yeah.
to that building, so it may have been lost
Yeah.
during that
That's-
time. I don't know.
Well, I think we have just about filled our hour. John
See,
in
we
the
told
back.
you it would be easy.
See,
That did go quick.
John was shaking his head in the background, so so that's good. And you two have been excellent guests, and these two have been excellent
Really?
guests. And this one is looking for attention all the time, and this one's just like, I just want to get through this thing, I think. So,
You're on TV, honey. Wait
Yeah.
till later.
Come on now.
So, so I want to thank both of you. It's been a pleasure to have both Amy Cunningham and Bonnie Brooks here today to talk about the animal shelter. And folks, hopefully you're more aware of what's going on out there now, and please get out to either volunteer your time or adopt a pet or whatever to help the animal shelter out.
And go through your shoes.
And go through your shoes. Bring the shoes. They still got a ways to go. May 16th is
May
the final
16th,
date.
yep.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, and we'll have Keeping Pace again next month. See you then.